Rob here at etrailer.com, and today you're going to be taking a look at the Curt T-connector vehicle wiring harness with a 7-way RV style connector on our 2019 Chevrolet Traverse. Our Curt wiring is going to give us all 7 functions at the back of our Traverse. We'll get all of our lights, like our tail lights, turn signals, brake lights, and our reverse lights, but we're also going to get a 12-volt power source back here and a brake controller circuit if we want to add one later. We're going to have a nice spring-loaded door. It's going to keep all that dirt, debris, and moisture outside of the connector. And it's also going to have a nice gasket in there, so when it is sealed up, we don't have to worry about anything seeping inside. Now, if you look at the door here, it does have a little latch, and that's going to hook onto your 7-way cord itself and prevent it from getting pulled out when we're driving down the road. Now, one of my favorite things about this wiring is how easy it's going to install. A lot of customers don't want to cut or splice into their factory wiring, and for good reason. I don't want to do it either. But our Curt wiring is going to plug directly into a factory tow package plug behind the bumper, and honestly that's going to be the hardest part, is just getting to it, because we simply just plug it in, route it over towards our hitch, and mount it up. In fact, let's go and walk through everything together, and I'll show you exactly how easy it is. To begin our installation, we want to come to the back of our Traverse. Now, we have a hitch installed, and it's behind this panel, so we need to remove that panel. We'll have 2 turn knobs at the very bottom corners. We'll turn them counterclockwise. And we'll grab our panel and we'll lift the whole thing up, and then we can pull out and down and pull the panel away. Now, ideally, you want to mount your 7-way really close to where your receiver tube is. Now, in our application, we have a bracket already welded onto our hitch, but we need another bracket to mount our 7-way. So we're going to be using the Pollock 7-way mounting bracket, and it'd be a good idea to pick one of these up because the slotted holes are going to make it really easy to mount your 7-way. We're not going to have to worry about getting a specific one. But I'll take the hardware. I'm just going to loosely get one started so I don't have to worry about the bracket falling down. And we'll put the other screw and nut in on the other side. I'm going to come back with a 10mm socket, and since these are locking nuts, we should just be able to hold it with our finger and tighten up this nut on the bottom side. Now that our bracket is mounted and ready, we're going to move over to the driver's side, right by our exhaust pipe. Now, right above that, right about this general area, we're going to have our factory tow package plug. It'll be a little bit difficult to see, but if we reach our hand up right past the exhaust hanger here, we'll feel the harness and we'll be able to grab it and pull it down. It's going to be this plug right here. It's going to have a push pin that's going into the body, and we can either grab the plug itself or we can try to push that push pin out of the body, pull it down with the plug. We'll pull our plug down. It's going to have a cap on it, so we're going to pull down on that red tab to unlock it, and then we'll press in on the center pin and separate the connector. Now that we can see a little better, here's that small red tab that's going to be on the cap. We're going to pull it out so it releases it, and we'll press down on that black section and pull the cap off. At this point, we want to grab our harness, and we're going to be paying attention to the end that has the rectangle plug on it. I'm going to start really close to my bracket, and I'm going to go on top of my hitch, and I'm going to start feeding it towards the driver's side. That way I can meet up with my plug on the other side. You just want to stay away from the exhaust as much as you can and try to stay as high as you can to prevent any kind of damage to our wire. Now I've ran it all the way over to where my other plug is. I'm going to take a little bit of dielectric grease. I'm going to fill this cavity up, and hopefully it'll prevent any kind of moisture or corrosion buildup inside the plug. We don't have to worry about any bad connections. But we'll take our plug now. We're going to plug it into our tow package harness. Once you have it plugged in, I'm going to make sure that it's locked in place, so it's a good idea to give it a quick tug. Then we can take that push pin fastener that's on the original harness and push it back into the hole so it's nice and secure and far enough away from our exhaust. I'm going to put some dielectric grease on the 7-way end of our connector as well. Make sure you get a good amount in there. Then we're going to come back to our bracket. I'm going to pass my wire through, and I can grab my socket. We're going to line it up, plug it in, give it a quick tug test, make sure it's not going to come loose. Now we can use the provided hardware with our bracket to mount up our plug, and then we can secure any loose wires. And just like before, the nuts for this hardware are going to be locking nuts, so we should just be able to hold them with our fingers and tighten up the screw using a flat blade screwdriver. Now the final step of our installation is going to be testing all of our circuits. Now I went ahead and plugged up my tester, but you can also use your trailer at home. So if I turn on my lights, you can see that my clearance lights are working, my left turn signal, my right turn signal, my brakes, and we're even going to get a reverse circuit. Now if we look at the needle on the top, it'll give us our voltage, and that's because we're getting that 12-volt power source at the back as well. We currently don't have a brake controller installed in our Traverse, but it'd be extremely easy to add one later on, and we'd have all of our brake functions going to our trailer as well. But now that we know that everything's working, we can go ahead and hook up to our trailer and hit the road. And that'll finish up your look and the installation of the Curt T-connector vehicle wiring harness with a 7-blade RV style connector on our 2019 Chevrolet Traverse.